Okay, I'll just make it clear straight away. I'm not against same-sex marriage. I think everyone should have equal rights. I mean, I got married once, and if I have the right to get married, why should I try to stop others from having the same choice to make the same mistake?
Now, what is good is that 61% of Australians have said yes.
No, Bill, 61% of Australians didn't say yes. It was actually only 31.6%. But the leader of Australia's opposition party wasn't the only one making that mistake. Some were even saying that 61.6% of Australians voted yes. No one voted. We just made a choice on a survey form. There was no legally binding vote on anything. The government could simply have ignored the result if they chose to. So how do I get a result of 31.6% of Australians saying yes when many others saying it was 61.6%? It comes down to people misquoting statistics and not considering the full picture before drawing conclusions from the statistical data. Of those who correctly responded to the survey, 61.6% did say yes, but not every Australian responded or was even eligible to respond. In fact, responses only came from 51.5% of Australia's population. If you do the maths, that means 31.6% of Australians said yes, 19.7% said no, 0.1% gave an invalid response, 13.3% of Australians did not respond but were eligible to respond, and 35.2% of Australians were ineligible to respond. I know I may be being a bit pedantic, but was there anything different about the other half of Australia's population that would have led to a different outcome if their opinions were known? Firstly, the invalid response rate is insignificant and would have no bearing on the result. Next, the Australian Bureau of Statistics believes the results are valid for all those who were eligible to participate, including the non-responders. They justify this by stating the response rate was high, with 4 out of 5 eligible participants responding, and the response rate being similar based on gender, age, and geography. This seems reasonable, and even if all non-responders said no, the outcome would have been 48.8% yes. I suspect most non-responders did not have a strong point of view either way, so it seems likely that yes would still have been the outcome for all eligible participants. But what about the 35.2% of Australians who were ineligible to participate? Were they different to those who were eligible? The short answer is yes. So, how were they different, and would those differences have affected their opinions and the final result? Those eligible to vote were registered Australian voters. With a few exceptions, it is compulsory for all Australian citizens over 18 to enrol to vote, but it is estimated about 600,000 or 4% of those who should be registered aren't. Would the reason for them not being registered voters affect their opinion? Who knows? So this could be a minor confounding factor in the results. But what about the remaining 8 million ineligible Australians? Approximately 3 million are under 18 years old, and it appears younger Australians gave a higher percentage of yes responses. This leaves 5 million ineligible resident Australians. It is expected most will be non-citizen residents who were born outside Australia. Some data suggests they would be more likely to say no. Sydney has the most extreme range of survey results by electorate. The high no vote electorates also have high immigrant populations. Assuming the most extreme no response of 70% is applied also to the 5 million of the ineligible Australians and 61.6% yes for the rest, would still give an overall yes result of 55.2%. But if the most extreme response was extended to all Australians except for those who gave a valid response, then the yes result would be reduced to only 46.2%. Bottom line is that if all Australians were considered, then an overall no response to same-sex marriage is possible. But this is taking it to the extreme. And an overall yes response is still the most probable outcome. In any case, the politicians, being politicians, were only interested in the point of view of eligible voters. So, the survey was successful in achieving that objective. I may be pedantic, but please don't say 61.6% of Australians voted yes for same-sex marriage. Just say that 61% of Australian voters support same-sex marriage. I'd be happy with that. I'm David A. Elliott. If you like what you see, click on the like button, make sure you subscribe, and keep watching for new videos. And if you really, really love them, then help support me to make more from as little as $1 a month at Patreon. Have a good one and see you around like a rissole.